Hi guys, welcome back. It's Michelle again. So this video is one that I hope has been made about 1,000,000,000,000 times before because it's something that desperately needs to be said, and it was pertinent, I think, particularly when YouTube started demonetizing videos for no reason, or at least for reasons that are completely arbitrary, and they made the appeals process completely one-sided. I've always kind of held these sentiments about being very, very vigilant and proactive when it comes to protecting your livelihood, but now more than ever, I think everybody needs to kind of I don't know, it sounds melodramatic, but you have to create fortifications to ensure that if any one of these websites or channels through which you provide content for your audience just decides to shut you down, whether it's for a legitimate reason or not, you will still have some source of income and there will still be sort of a buffer to allow you to recalibrate, if you will, and get back on your feet. Essentially, this video is ways to protect your livelihood if you are a content creator online. Without any valid reason, YouTube began to demonetize people's videos. In fact, a lot of the decisions that they have made seem completely inconsistent and contradictory to their own stances, and they just seem completely inconsistent and hypocritical when it comes to these things. And the appeals process is virtually non-existent. The point here is that you absolutely cannot afford to rely on one social media platform if you are a content creator for all of your income, all of your popularity, all of your networking. You cannot do this. You cannot. It doesn't matter whether the website is completely in the wrong or not that shuts you down. Once that's happened, it doesn't matter that they have no right to do what they did. They already did it and you're screwed. Having righteous indignation about something, such as Bering did when he got the copyright strikes or whatever on his channel when the bear he was using was trademarked by this company, not copyrighted, and YouTube has no policy for using somebody else's trademarked stuff. It doesn't matter that he was completely right to be upset about it, and based on technicalities alone, YouTube had wrongly terminated his channel. I mean, it's already done. It doesn't matter. You can argue semantics all you want, and even if they were in the wrong, what good does it do you knowing that you're in the right or being able to prove that you're in the right when it's a private website that has, their own prerogative to do whatever they want, and when you already have suddenly lost your entire stream of income and you have to completely rebuild your fan base. Anybody can do these things, and I think everybody has an obligation to. You need to take these steps to protect yourself, to protect your brand, to protect your income and those family members that potentially depend on your income as well. You absolutely have to cross over. When you are doing well on a platform, when you are developing an audience, it doesn't have to be as big as Milo's, of course, you need to immediately start taking advantage of that captive audience by promoting yourself on all the other websites that you may have a presence on. And if you don't have a presence on a lot of other websites, you absolutely need to build one, because if you rely on Twitter completely to get your name out there as your advertising, as your PR, if you will, when Twitter bans you, you're completely screwed. You need to constantly, whatever platforms you are on, constantly plug your other platforms. Make sure people know. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure to like my Facebook page. There's a litany of different things that you can do to make sure that if one of these sites goes down for any reason for you, your fans, or at least a good portion of your fans, are going to be preserved and are going to already have crossed over onto other websites. There's a good chance that a lot of the people who watch you won't even notice if you suddenly disappear off of YouTube. If you don't come up frequently in their minds, whether it's because they see a tweet from you, whether it's an Instagram post, people are not going to sit down and say, hey, whatever happened to that Michelle girl? I made a list of some of the websites that you should absolutely consider trying to create a presence on, and I recognize that a lot of people will gravitate toward a few social media sites that they enjoy a lot more, that sort of cater to their personalities and their preferences. But if you want to be a content creator, you are also your entire PR department, unless you're a huge channel like Game Grumps or JonTron or somebody, you know? It's kind of your duty to build a presence across a variety of social media platforms. Make a Facebook page, make a Snapchat. I hate Snapchat. I don't know how to use it, but if I ever get bigger, people have an expectation that you're going to be tech savvy and you're going to participate in all of these different social, you know, circles. Minds.com. Make a Minds.com page, especially since Facebook and YouTube are so heavy on censorship now. Gab.ai is a really cool site. It's also kind of in beta. It's kind of like a cross between Twitter and Reddit right now, and I really like it so far. I think you need an invite to get it. Instagram. Twitch, I don't know what kind of things you do. If you do long videos, if you do any kind of gaming commentary, consider streaming on Twitch from time to time. LinkedIn, even. You know, just in a professional capacity, you can network with other people who do similar things that way. Vimeo, don't laugh. Stop laughing. We have to start using alternatives to YouTube. We cannot let YouTube be this huge monopoly that is, you know, all powerful and has the final say in what is acceptable and what is not acceptable as far as content creation. Make sure to have a Twitter account. Yes, Twitter is awful, but even if you're just doing it to kind of promote your other accounts and to sort of divert and funnel your fans to other websites that you are more comfortable using, you really need to have a presence on Twitter. Reddit, make your own subreddit. Make sure you have a YouTube channel. Even if you don't do a lot of videos and you upload very sparsely on there, you still need to have a presence there. Steam, if you're a gamer, add people on Steam. There's no bigger ego boost than having like an internet celebrity as your friend on Steam. You now, I don't know, join there as well. Again, you might laugh at it, but we have to find sites other than just YouTube. We cannot continue to let YouTube be a monopoly like this. WordPress even. I freaking love WordPress. I want to be a novelist someday, and that is yet another way to kind of appeal to another audience. Even if you're just transcribing your YouTube videos, or even if you're just kind of expanding upon short Instagram captions that you may have, you know, uploaded there, that's another way to translate your product and your brand into a different medium to allow more fans to come in and to allow what you do to be applicable to more people and, you know, across a broader spectrum of different websites. Next is probably even more important. You have to diversify your income streams. You need to have other sources of income. Any one website, no matter how reputable they are, no matter how trustworthy they are, you cannot afford to expect any one website to be your income ever, especially YouTube, especially a website that has shown themselves to be so kind of blasé and cavalier about censoring people. You cannot. And at this point, it's so commonplace for them to demonetize videos and to ban people for arbitrary reasons. There's no excuse if you get your YouTube channel taken down and suddenly you can't pay your cell phone bill, you can't pay your rent. Make a GoFundMe page. Make a Kickstarter page if you have a specific project you're working on. Start a Patreon. YouTube ad revenue, of course, is a valid and extremely profitable source of income as long as you are not relying on that alone. And make an Etsy shop. I don't know. Sell cute little notebooks full of advice or screenshots from different things. If that's something you're into, if your content is more like artsy, craftsy related in any way, I know a lot of like adult film stars and like Suicide Girls, they'll sell Polaroids, you know, that's a one-of-a-kind piece of art if you sell a Polaroid of yourself to somebody. And a personal website, of course. If you are able and have the time, there's no reason not to create your own website. That's an excellent hub to kind of funnel everybody into if you'd like to have a controlled environment in which you have a little bit more security and a little bit more peace of mind as far as not being censored. Another thing to remember is that you have to tailor your posts to each site. Expectations are different on each site. Each website has a different level of emphasis on pictures versus text versus, you know, emojis versus videos. All of these different things are kind of like formulaic, and they're all sort of emphasized to a different extent on every website, and you have to tailor your posts to those things. If you post the exact same thing on Instagram that you're posting on Facebook, you're going to have a markedly more enthusiastic response on one site than another. And this is something that you have to learn if you want to market yourself, if you want to appeal to a wider audience. Another reason why this is so important is because if you post selfies sometimes on Twitter, but then you post sexier pictures on Instagram, or if you post your videos of, cultural commentary or reaction videos on YouTube, but then you post behind the scenes videos on Snapchat or something. If you have unique content that you are putting out to one site that you are not putting out to other sites, this will make your audience want to seek you out on various different social media platforms to make sure they're not missing out on anything. That's another way to ensure that if your Instagram gets taken down because there's a booby or something, if your Twitter account gets banned because of some arbitrary complaint of hate speech or something, there's a big chance that a lot of your followers are already following you on other sites where you can let them know, hey, I'm not on this site anymore. And that will give you a buffer so you don't lose your entire audience if one of these sites singles you out, essentially. Another important piece of advice is that you need to post regularly on social media. I personally am really, really bad about this. I'm like a Facebook, I'm like silent but deadly. So this huge pool of people, this fantastic resource being my close friends and my family members who would absolutely support me in making this content, I am not taking advantage of that. I am not using those resources. I do post a lot on Twitter. I post sometimes on Instagram, but it's really, really important, even if it's a drag. And I know, everybody will do this to a different extent. You have to kind of weigh how important marketing yourself and making this into a career is versus your own comfort and, kind of just doing what you enjoy doing, because that's the only way that you are going to stay fresh in people's minds. The more often you post, the more often people think about you, the more often people wonder what you're doing, the more often people are going to go to your profile page or your channel page. If you only post every great once in a while and that's all people see of you, they're much less likely to seek you out on another website. Another consideration is the fact that people are online at all different times. Some people work second shift, so they're going to be online really, really late at night. Most people are online kind of in the evening. So, depending on your time zone and where most of your fans are from, you can kind of be more relevant based on that alone. Like, I could post the same tweet at 9:30 a.m., maybe 200 people will see it. If I post it at 11:30 at night, 5,000 people will see it, because that's the time when most students, most, working adults who have a part or full-time job, that's when most of them are unwinding and they have time to be online. So that's something to really remember. There are people who might absolutely love your content and be super compatible with the product that you are releasing. But if you are not online at any of the times they are, they might not even see a tweet from you, even if they're following you. And even if you're sending out 10 tweets a day about, relevant, entertaining content. So you have to absolutely make sure that you are regularly posting on all of these different sites to make sure that as many of the people as possible who are in your audience or who are potential audience members remember that you're out there. Next, this is more of a scolding thing than it is instructions, but you cannot rely on a private company to do the right thing ever. And the thing is, righteous indignation doesn't fix your life when you're completely screwed over. Even if a company completely defies and contradicts their own terms of service, the chance that you are going to in any way be compensated by this private company that more or less has the prerogative to do whatever they want, whether it's fair or not, is slim to none. It doesn't matter whether the company is in the wrong or not. Once they've deleted your entire YouTube channel and you've lost everything that you've put all that work into, whether or not they contradicted their own terms of service and their own public stances on things, that's irrelevant. You cannot rely on companies to adhere to even what they promise to do. I don't care how good they've been to you so far. I don't care how many of your friends have had a positive experience and feel completely, safe and welcome on these sites. You cannot depend on private companies, YouTube, Facebook, anything like this. Anything. You cannot depend on them being consistent and fair and not hypocritical for your livelihood. You cannot. It is your responsibility, nobody else's. I don't want to hear you whining and complaining and panicking when all of a sudden one of your websites is taken down and you lose all your fans. It is your responsibility and yours alone to spread your presence across as many different websites as possible and to use every opportunity you have to make sure that your fans know that you are on a variety of different sites through which they can follow you. That is the only way for there to be a buffer if one of your pages gets taken down while you try to fight to get your page back, your channel back, your account back on any website. It is your responsibility and yours alone. And people might be sympathetic when YouTube does something horrible and shuts down your channel, but that's not going to help you pay your cell phone bill. That's not going to help you pay for your groceries or your deductible if you need a tooth pulled. As frequent as it is for these websites to, without any justification or feeling like they owe you any explanation whatsoever, to just remove somebody's presence entirely, there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all to not take these precautions at this point and to actively work against that being your downfall or that being the end of your career. All right, well, that's about it. This video is atrociously long, but these are all things that I think are extremely important, and I'm never really sure whether people kind of know all this stuff, whether this all is obvious and a given, or if people really aren't thinking about it. And I genuinely don't think there's any excuse anymore to rely on any one platform, any social media platform for your income. There are so many ways to make sure that you can, preserve a good amount of your fans. If one of these websites decides that they don't like you, or if there's pressure from a bunch of offended people to get rid of you, it's so easy to make sure to maintain a presence across a variety of different sites, to not only maintain those fans, but to bring more in and to kind of show the versatility and the multifaceted nature of your content and your brand. Please, all of you, don't take any unnecessary risks. Don't get lazy. Try to regularly, if you have to set like a stupid alarm on your phone or jot it down in your appointment book, remember, post it maybe twice a week at least on each of these different websites, and try to figure out a good time to do it when you think a lot of your fans are online, when they're unwinding, when they're looking for some kind of gossip to get excited about and send their friends messages on. It's so easy to prevent these kinds of disasters from happening, and I don't want to see anybody hurt because of the rampant and constantly increasing normality of censorship. It's awful and it's despicable, and you shouldn't have to be as vigilant as most of us are now, but you do have to. Whether it's right or not, it's reality, and we need to do everything within our power to protect ourselves and to make sure that our unique perspectives and experiences and products are available to the people who want them, even when some nebulous group of people at some website that you never, really get any feedback from, and they try and get rid of you. So, yeah. Cool. That's all. I'm gonna finish my Mountain Dew and stuff now. And I really hope that this advice helps somebody. I'm sorry that it was so long-winded, but it's something that, I mean, it can spell the end of your career if you are not prepared and if you don't make sure to try and build a presence, in a variety of different ways to make sure that you can get to your fans, you can get a hold of these people and let them know if somebody decides that your freedom of speech is just not valid or not worth the scrutiny it puts on them. That's all, and I love you guys very much. Have a good night and be nice to everybody and stuff, okay? Bye.